All right, says we're live. Doing a little more inking on the Saving Comics banner. Got Mr. Dark and Link here, keeping me company.
Hey, what's up?
But since I'm just going to leave it on me right now, since I'm the only one drawing anything.
No, not really.
Let's see if any more of the gang shows up.
I have no idea.
I got to confess, for everybody that I subscribe to, I turn notifications off because I was just getting too much stuff in my
Hi,
email
Nacho.
inbox.
Yeah, I get that.
Is Nacho here?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, there he goes. Okay. Hey, Nacho. Yeah, it didn't show up on my comments until after yours. Dr. Doom is not impressed. Actually, I think he's reaching out to grab Starfire's silky soft hair. Going, how do you get it so manageable?
I would.
Starfire, she doesn't really care if she can't get her hair cut during the whole COVID crisis. I know mine is starting to look funky.
Your hair grows into an afro.
Grows into what?
Oh, Nacho's hair grows into an afro.
An afro.
I thought he was bald.
Let me see. All right. I was checking to see if there was a way to turn up your mic on this end because you're a little quiet.
I am?
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but okay.
Yeah, because when it was just you and me talking, before we went live, it was fine. I could hear just fine. I don't know. So Nacho, what should Dark and Link watch when he's finished with Naruto?
Nacho is saying DL sounds fine to me.
Okay. It might just be on my end because I got some music playing in the background too.
It's part of the music.
Yeah. I just don't want the pressure of having to be entertaining all the time. I like that.
Code.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching some of that. Not a whole lot, but some of it.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but sure. I'm gonna watch all of the Naruto's after the original Naruto. I can't talk. Shows. Code Geass. Okay.
The Luge of the Revolution. I used to watch some of that stuff on what was it? Cartoon Network when they would show the anime late at night on the weekends. You know, started out watching Bleach and then Cowboy Bebop and some of the other stuff they had on there. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. You need to watch that. That's some good stuff.
Okay. And Toonami.
Toonami, yeah, that's right.
Oh my god, Nacho. Calm down. I haven't even finished Naruto yet. There's too many animes. I'm only on season 2, episode 18 of Naruto, the original run.
And that's one of those that went on forever, right?
Apparently 9 seasons.
Oh, good night.
With the ninth season only has 8 episodes. The 8th season is 26. Yeah. Every other season has like 26, 24, 28 or something like that.
But then those last couple just had a few?
Yeah. 200 filler episodes in Naruto. Like, throughout the entire series or the first show?
Wait. 200 filler episodes?
That's what Nacho is saying.
Holy cow.
In the first Naruto show. Holy crap. An episode takes like 23 minutes. And I just binged watched like 10 hours yesterday for just all of season 1 and like half of season 2. Which is actually not bad.
I was gonna say, how'd you manage to do that? Are you staying at home?
No, I just have weekends off.
Yeah, that's one thing in my job. We don't really come into contact with anybody, so we're still open. We're still working.
Yeah, my job is working too. Oh, they're just waiting for the manga to catch up. So we just thrown in some extra episodes.
Oh, all right.
Yu Yu Kak Oshu.
That's another one they used to have on Toonami. I think it's a Hakusho, though, not Kakusho, I think.
Calm down. Yeah, Hakusho. Or Hakusho. Calm down, Nacho. Let me finish Naruto, and if I liked it, And I'll move
Well,
on to other
I
animes.
was gonna say I'm the one who started this. I'm the one who said posed the question. What should you watch after you finish? In my ignorance, not thinking that he's gonna be watching Naruto for another several months.
It's so fine. Actually, a while ago, I was planning on watching Seven Deadly Sins,
Mm-hmm.
but I never got around to it.
It's funny. My youngest son, who I never thought would be interested at all in anime, he's been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix. Like Fairy Tale and
Avoid One Piece.
Avoid
Okay,
One Piece.
yeah. That doesn't look interesting at all.
Persona 5. Now is that an actual anime? I mean, I know it's a game because my older
I
son plays the game.
Nacho says it's an anime.
All right. I like watching him play the game though. It's pretty cool.
I never played the games.
It's not the kind of game that I would play, but I enjoy watching him do it. And I love how stylistic it is.
Oh yeah. Why do we have a show named Trigun? Sounds like Trigon. And Trigon the Terrible is Raven's father. I'm not watching that show. Nacho is literally just listing down all the animes that he watched since he was in quarantine. Because he had nothing else to do. Okay, Nacho. Now there are drones flying around. That sounds cool. Initial D is your favorite. Oh, I thought you meant drones flying around, as in within the anime that you listed.
Oh, Initial D. I think that's one of the ones that my son likes.
As the US became Russia. According to Nacho's experiences. So I about to say that on streams. Yeah, Nacho's just rambling on now.
Gonna be colored in anyway. Oh.
Why do you place X's?
The X's, and for some reason, I really cannot hear you. And I don't see anywhere on here for me to change that in StreamYard. So
Weird.
I'm going to pause this and see if I can hear you any better. All right. Say something now.
I'm saying something.
Yeah. Still really quiet on my end.
Weird.
All right. But now that I've turned the music off, I'm just going to turn the speakers up so I can hear better.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. See, I can hear you now. I just had to turn the music down.
Okay. So yeah, what's up with the X's?
The X's are where you go in later and fill in with black.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a lot of artists will save that for last because if you put down a lot of black ink and your hands moving across the page,
It'll smudge.
pick it up on your hand, and yeah, it'll smudge. Plus, and in fact, that reminds me, I should probably put on my little cut up glove here. It's like the COVID mask for my hand. But you can go back and erase the stray pencils before filling in all the blacks, and that way you're also not smudging the black ink with your eraser or pulling away too much of the ink. Yeah, and plus, depending on what kind of pencil you're using, if you're using a really soft lead, and if you go in and you've seen just pencil drawings people have done where they've gone in and they've just colored in all the shadows with the pencil, right? Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's nothing wrong with that. But when you go to ink it, there's a chance that the ink might not stick as well to the paper because you've got all that graphite that's sort of in the way.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're doing a nice pencil drawing, then yeah, by all means go ahead and fill it all in. But if you know it's going to be inked later, then maybe you might do like me, which is I'll color it in just so I can sort of see how it's coming together. But then I won't fill it in. I'll go back and erase a bunch, like
erase everything and then fill in the blacks.
Like that's going to be black, so I'll just go and erase that lightly. Oh
wow. Okay.
So that's all. Another shortcut is if you see, like in the background, you see BWS written. That was always a shortcut for black with stars. So like the penciler would leave that for the inker to fill the whole area in with black with stars.
So it's like multiple people doing it.
Right. because traditionally that's how comics were done. You had a separate penciler and inker a lot of times, just starting out.
Oh wow.
I mean, you kind of had to try to keep up the pace and get the books done.
True.
And like when I was, working as an assistant, having, yet another person helped speed things up too, because when I was penciling backgrounds, my friend would lay out the sheet, and sometimes he would go ahead and pencil in the main figures and anything super important, and then he would just hand it to me and say, okay, we need the backgrounds on here. He might have sketched out a few rough lines of what he wanted, or in some cases he might have had a photograph and say, I want this interior shot like this hotel lobby, and just leave the whole panel blank for me. But that was great, because then I get started on that page and he would jump on to the next page. And I mean, I would sometimes go spend the weekend with him, and we'd get 5 or 6 pages done in 2 days that way, which was good. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
Hmm?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, when he got the job to take over Witchblade, the book was really behind. And so, Top Cow said, listen, anything you can do to help us get back on schedule, please do. And the book wasn't even coming out on a monthly schedule at that point. It was coming out like every 6 weeks, so anyway, COVID-19 is in the ink. Oh, okay. In the ink. My brain at first saw in the link. I was like, what? No.
In the link.
Golly. So, but yeah, so they said, anything you can do. He said, can I get somebody to help me with the backgrounds? I said, yeah, sure. That's no problem. I mean, they weren't going to be paying me. It was coming out of his pocket. So, what did they care, as long as, I did a halfway decent job.
Oh, that's nice.
So where did I learn how to draw? I'm self-taught. I just started drawing at a very young age, and I've always loved comic books. And like a lot of people, I did a fair amount of tracing when I was younger. I absolutely, recommend tracing when you're young. It really helps. You get a feel for how other artists are doing things, and I mean, at some point you need to move on past that, but it's good for learning some stuff. I did go to school for fine arts, but they didn't really know what to make of me there, because my professor was teaching people who wanted to do things like great big dark self portraits and stuff. So when he saw I wanted to be more of a commercial artist, he was like, I don't know how to critique your stuff. Like, oh, well, just give me an A and we'll move on. What was your page rate? What was my page rate? You mean for doing backgrounds? Well, that always depended. And when I was, inking, depending on the page, it might be anywhere between 25 and 50 a page at the time. The rates were better for pencilers and inkers back then, so they could pay more. When I was penciling backgrounds, there were some times when most of the page would be backgrounds, and my friend was very generous, and so he would give me most of the money for that page, since I was doing most of the work. But I think at the time he was getting a couple of $100 a page penciling. But comics were selling a whole lot better back then. I wonder. Let me see if I've got. If this is the notebook I have that has examples in it. Oh, this might be old stuff. Yeah, this is not what I was looking for. Okay. I thought maybe I had some of my background pencils in this notebook, real handy. I could just whip some out and show.
Oh.
But no, this is the notebook that's all inking stuff, and that's more boring. Let's see that.
Nacho is asking, what is the rate if you do everything on the page?
You mean for me?
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, I would assume you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess now. Let me see. I actually sat down one day and made out page rates. So let's see. 11 by 17. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So I had, if I did a full sheet of pencils and inks, like if I were doing a commission, like the Red Rooster piece that I did, that was, the whole thing fully rendered, filled up. I was asking 200 for something like that. And that was for an 11 by 17 page.
Oh, wow.
Now, if I were to ask that, if someone were to come to me and want me to draw their comic and I were to ask that, they'd laugh at me, But then again, commissions are different because, commissions, you can take your time. You can put a lot of detail into, whereas if you're doing, continuity, you're doing pages like, like this one, where doing the whole thing.
Oh my god, that gets gory fast.
Yeah. I'm not good at gore, so it's kind of comedy gore. But like in this case, it was something was offered to me. It was not a whole lot of money, but I wasn't doing anything, and I said, oh, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun, and I've had a good time doing it. So, I don't mind. It was just 4 pages long too, so it wasn't a huge commitment. But that's what I've got to get back to that after I finish this. Get back to inking that.
All right.
And then my friend and I have been talking about possibly, working together again on a crowdfunding thing. If he brings back something he did back in the 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember exactly when it was. I think it was early 2000s.
Oh.
But, that's I got a long way to go. Can't decide what the best way to bring it back, or if the best thing would be to start out with, you get your feet wet with an art book, because he's certainly got lots of good stuff that he could put in an art book. And another artist that we're friends with, suggested that he go that route. Yeah, excuse me.
Bless you.
That's a good way to get your feet wet. Thank you. And see if the audience is there too. And that way, you do that. And then, you start to build up your audience. You start doing YouTube, you start getting on Twitter. He's already on Instagram, but that way, you start talking to people and drumming up interest. So when you do launch, you've already got, people interested, ready and waiting, ready to back your project. But there really wouldn't be anything for me to help with on that. an art book. But that's fine. All right, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to come back with some white.
So I can't help but notice, but you have like a sticker on the top of a piece of paper.
I beg your pardon?
A sticker on the top of a paper.
This?
Yeah.
This is what's known as a drafting dot.
Oh.
And this is back when, architects, when we used to do a lot of drawings by hand, we would buy these.
So it just holds it in place.
Yeah, just peel off, like that. And yeah, it's just something to sort of keep it from sliding down off the table.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets in the way and I just peel the whole sucker off. After a while it curls up from being pulled up so many times, and if I'm using a triangle or a French curve, it'll catch the edge, and
yeah.
That's kind of frustrating. So like, okay, it's time to take it off. But then I'll be working again, and it'll start sliding. I'm like, okay, got to put a new one on. All right, what am I gonna do here? All right. Dr. Doom's getting a little bit of a pig snout here. No. Come this way.
Oh, Nacho just asked another question.
Okay. What are the industries you've worked for? Ooh. You know what? I pretty much worked in architecture my whole life. Of course, did some retail like everybody else. But even that was in a shop selling framed art prints and posters. I once did, I can't even remember how I got this job now, but I once did some backgrounds for what was going to be a webtoon called, ironically enough, Sidekicks. And it was for a company called Platinum Studios. Like I said, I can't even remember how I got that job. And at the time,
Studios, you mean like the video game company?
I don't know. This was so long ago. This was, before that was a thing, but maybe it's the same company. I think it is Platinum Studios. I don't think it's a different one. I don't know if that series ever came out. I just know I did a certain number of very clean line art backgrounds for them that they could, go in and somebody else would, would color it in. And I don't think I ever saw any episodes of Sidekicks, but now it's just really ironic, since that's my handle.
I just looked at Platinum Studios and I actually see a few different things, but one I see is a comic, a comic company, so I'm guessing that's the one he worked for. Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, they were when I was doing the work for them, they were a multimedia. You know, I mean, they were trying to develop properties for, you know, movies and TVs and comics, a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
But I mean, I always thought that this is what I wanted to do. Just couldn't quite get my foot in the door, and was doing some stuff for a small company, but you know, I was working on a couple of different things for them, and unfortunately, you know, they had to close their doors.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I only had one short story that I did for them that was in one of their annuals that ever saw print.
Oh. Wow.
But the writer I was working with became a friend, and you know, I've done a couple of things for him, mainly, and I think I've mentioned this before in other streams. He one of the things he does now is he teaches a class at a college where he lives, and it's about writing for comics. And so he'll
Oh,
have,
nice.
he'll have, 4 to 7, students a semester. And what he was doing is he would have them do a final project, which was to write a 5 to 8 page script, depending, in whatever genre they wanted to, but it was a script for a comic story. And then without them knowing it, he contacted artist friends and said, look, I'm doing this. Would you, be interested in drawing this for me? I can't pay you, but we're going to get copies of the book printed. I'll give you some copies of the book. And, I wasn't doing anything. And I thought, I'd like to help him out. So sure, I'll do it. And so I did a 5-page story in the first one. And it was a very tight deadline for me anyway. It was 3 weeks, and it was around Christmas time.
Oh,
So,
no.
Yeah. So, I said, all right, well, I'll give it a try. And it was good because it forced me to work faster. Hey, Marsupial. And so, yeah. And, I did it, and it turned out okay. I was like, this didn't suck, even though I was working fast, because that's what was killing me before, is I was spending way too much time, on the pages and trying to make everything like the best thing I'd ever drawn,
Yeah.
Let me see if I got.
Hey, Marsupial, I'm here too.
Yeah, Darken Link is joining me. But let me see if I got a good. Here's an example of one of the pages that I had done for an earlier project, and so I was trying to put a lot of detail into everything,
wow.
that panel right there.
Holy.
I built this whole room
that detail.
in SketchUp, huh?
That's detail.
Yeah, I did it all in SketchUp and then traced it onto the page, because I knew I would never get the perspective and everything right unless I did that. And this page here, let me move my camera back so you can see the whole page. This, where he's reacting, he's got this atomic alarm clock that's launched itself in the air and is going to start firing lasers at him if he doesn't get out of bed. I mean, I had my son pose for this, and take a photo of him so that I could get, you know, the wrinkles and the pose and everything just right. So it was
That's
just
insane.
taking me a long time to get anything done. So it was good practice to do those stories for Ron and just not worry about that, but instead worry about getting the work done in a timely manner. There we go. Of course, as you can see, watching me draw, I'm still very, very slow.
Uh-oh. We're about to be trolled.
Oh, seriously? Oh no.
Yeah, as far as I know, Dillard doesn't really like me for some reason. I don't know what I did, but whatever.
I don't think I've never been on a stream with John, but I've been in his chat many times, and I was there playing Screw Battle along with the chat before. That was fun.
I can't join most script battles because I am in a different time zone and it's too early.
Yeah, so what time is it for you where you are?
Right now, it's 8:44 p.m.
Oh. Oh, all right. Yeah, so you're West Coast time for us.
Yeah.
Whereas me, it's 11:44.
Oh, wow.
So I got a little bit of a late start tonight.
I know Pope's time is Central, which is 10:44 right now.
Right, right.
I just try to remember everyone's time, so when they say blah 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 at 10 p.m. or whatever, oh no, okay, they're in this time zone, so that means it's this time for me. Like, at time.
Right, and that's right. Cheesecake Challenge, I think, is should be going on. Actually, they may have started the Cheesecake Challenge right now on Slick Jimmy Love's channel.
I don't know where you got that from.
Well, I was just thinking about the time, and I know he's in. I think he's Mountain Time Zone.
I have no idea what time that is.
Well, that's 1 hour different from you. It's 1 hour in between you and Pope.
Oh, okay, so he should be like 9:46 for them.
I see Metal is here. Hello, Metal.
Hi, Metal.
Try to do my own comics. You know what, Nacho? If I had a good idea, I would, but I'm not an idea guy. I'm where I'm sorely lacking. I mean, I can draw halfway decent, but I can't come up with a good story or character. I'm definitely somebody who needs to work with a writer.
Actually, that reminds me, what did you think of my idea of making you do the Mother Raven, Child's Raven?
Um, well, I mean, I'd already done Starfire and Nightwing with their little baby. So it's not like it was a strange idea or anything.
Except that Raven never had the child.
Yeah, I know. But people do that all the time. That sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So no, it was fine. Um, as long as you're happy with it, I'm happy.
Marsupial just said, DL's an idea guy. So long as you want ideas about Raven.
I don't know.
And not just going, oh no.
I can come up with, like little scenes, like, oh, this would be a neat little scene to have in a story, but I'm no good at building a story around it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it would be really clever if this happened, and then this character realized, that that's what was going on. Like, oh, yeah, that would be cool. But where would we put it?
A while ago, I actually made myself like a very rough story idea
Mm-hmm.
with story elements. I just never got around to do anything about it. But it'll be cool to actually learn to draw so I can actually turn my idea into a comic.
Well, it's never too late to start.
And I've been learning to draw.
Good. When I was first, well, not when I was first learning, but when I was younger, before I guess when I was in middle school and high school, I had my first copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, and that book was like the Bible to me. I loved it. I don't know how many times I went through it, and I practiced everything that was in there.
Oh, wow.
And then went off to college, and I had done about a 11 or 12 page Star Trek comic based on Star Trek the motion picture and the uniforms that they were using there. Move this up a little bit because I'm working a little bit higher on the board. And oh, hey, Jimmy Ortiz. So I had that comic, and I had my book and everything, and then my dormitory caught fire one night.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I wasn't there though. I was in the hospital because I was a walk-on on the track team, and we had been practicing in the gym the day before. It was snowing, so we were practicing inside, and I was a long jumper, and so we were, running and jumping and just working on our spring and jumping and landing in the high jump pit. And I jumped fine and I landed fine, but when I went to step off the pit, my foot went and tore the ligaments.
No.
Yeah, tore the ligaments on one side, so I had to have surgery. So, I woke up the next day coming out of surgery, and they're like, "Did you used to live in Jefferson Dorm?" I said, "Oh, what do you mean, did?" So, well, it kind of caught fire last night, and it was funny. I heard later, that my RA, he was going around counting heads and trying to figure out where was everybody. He goes, "Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin?" And my roommate was like, "It's okay. He's in the hospital." What? Another one of my friends told me, when the smoke started, coming into the halls and out under his the door to his room, he thought it was this guy on the hall that we called Druggy Joe. He thought Druggy Joe was just lighting up, and
Oh,
and it was
wow.
all spilling out into the hall. No. Little more serious than that.
Just a tiny bit.
Yep, just a bit. And so, then we had just come back from Christmas break. It was in January, and so the
Oh,
college
wow.
had to find some place to put us. And we were it was at William and Mary, so Colonial Williamsburg. So they put us up at the Williamsburg Motor Lodge at the time. It was off season because it was the middle of winter. So they didn't have as many tourists at the time. So they put us up there for a while, and I had surgery, so I was staying at the student health center instead of off with everybody else. And but I went out there one night. They showed everybody It's a Wonderful Life. They brought that out, and put up the big screen, had the film projector, and so we all got to watch It's a Wonderful Life, and that was the first time I'd ever seen it. And I think they wanted us to appreciate, that we were all okay. We may
Yeah,
have lost our stuff, but other than that, we're gonna be all right.
that's crazy.
Yeah. But it was so cool because uh, there was such an outpouring of generosity from people um, all over the state, and students from other universities in the state sent donations, sent clothes. I mean, they had a
Holy
whole big room, just full of donated clothes because we didn't have anything, you know.
no.
And one of the local department stores gave everybody like $100 uh, in like $100 gift certificate to go in, say goodbye underwear and whatever.
Yeah.
My wife was in the same dorm. In fact, she lived on the same floor as me.
Oh
We didn't
wow.
we didn't date in college. We didn't date until after we had graduated. We were both in grad schools in different states. So that's kind of how stupid we were. But
At
yeah,
least you met each other and got together.
yeah, we were just friends first, and then she. Uh, it's funny, she was dating my roommate in the fraternity, and I was dating one of her sorority sisters. So we joke around that we have these nice pictures of the four of us. You just cut the ends off, and leave the two of us in the middle, and it's okay. So who else we
Yeah.
got here? Let's see. Todd's here. Ignition, get tuned in. Hey, Todd, thanks for joining us. Nice and clean. I like you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is a commission. This is a banner that Pope Fire asked me to do for the Saving Comics Facebook group. So I'm guessing she's going to want me to color it. Might be better if somebody else colored it, but we'll see.
I say your colors are good.
They're okay. Coloring is not my strong suit. I've never been a very good colorist, but I'll scan the line art. So, I'll give her both. And that way, if somebody wanted to come in and do some nice computer coloring on it, they could do it, really make it look nice. And after after a couple of weeks, the college worked out a deal with a motel in town that was closed in the off season, and they leased it for 2 years, and so they moved us in there for the rest of the year. And we were off campus, but not too far off campus, and we were across the street from shopping center with Food Lion and everything. We could all have our cars, even though we were freshmen. So that was nice. Plus, the rooms were much bigger. We had double beds. We had air conditioning. We had cable TV. We all each had our own private bathrooms. So, this is pretty sweet. And so the guy that I roomed with the next year, he and I decided to stay there as well. So we spent another year out
wow.
there. Yeah, and then it was in our junior year when they completed the work renovating the dorm that had burned. And so midway through the year, they moved us back into that dorm. And then we had to get used to a smaller room again. But that's all right. It was nice being back on campus with everybody.
Yeah. That's good.
Yep. because I had been, injured and was on crutches, I didn't make it out to where they were, people were going through all the donations of clothes. So one of my friends saw something there and snagged it for me and brought it back to me. It was a Mr. Spock shirt.
Oh,
Yep. So guess what I went to the Halloween parties that next year as?
Spider-Man.
Absolutely right. How'd you guess? Must be psychic.
I am.
Found out later on that back when our dorm was first built, it was like in the 20s, I think, and it was a ladies' dorm then, and they actually had a swimming pool in the basement.
Oh, wow.
I know, that was pretty cool. It's like, dang. But they converted it all to rooms, so we did not get to enjoy that part.
No.
And when they moved us into the motel, the next year, when my roommate and I were living there, they had cleaned the pool. So, the pool was nice and we got to use it for all of about a week. Because while they cleaned it, they didn't maintain it. So it got all green and nasty after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But still, we had a fun bunch out there.
Always you add to that.
So who started the fire? The fire actually started, it was in the RA kitchen downstairs. And when they had renovated the dorm years before, they had sort of, they had all these false walls. So it was a lot of like space between walls where the fire could burn and travel. And yeah, so it had burned without anybody seeing any flames for a while. And it burned up the boys' side of the dorm and then jumped the firewall and started burning down on the girls' side. Because we had, a stairwell that divided the boys' side from the girls' side. And so on our side, it was pretty much gutted. It was just a shell. On the girls' side, they still had, the floors. And in fact, my wife was able to go up to her room with a fireman later and see if there was anything salvageable. And one of the things that she got out of the room that was remarkably undamaged was her Bible. Pretty much everything else, smoke and water damage, but the Bible was still in very good shape.
Does that mean God is real?
Well, of course he's real. Yeah, he was really supernaturally protecting my wife when we were trying to have our second child.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. We, when we decided we were ready to start a family, we basically got pregnant right off the bat, with our first son. And so then after a little while, we thought, okay, we're ready. We want another one because we wanted 2 or 3. But just nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. And she had to have surgery for a cyst that had grown on one of her tubes, her fallopian tubes, and it had twisted. And so they had to go in and remove the tube, but insisted that was not going to affect fertility at all. And so we kept trying, and nothing was working. So we did all the things that, couples do. And then finally, after about 5 years, doctor said, all right, we've tried everything else. Let's go in and take a look around. And so basically made a little incision down around her belly button and put the camera in, started looking around, and found out that when she had that earlier surgery, scar tissue had developed and her uterus had adhered to her bowel. So if she had gotten pregnant and started to get bigger and bigger and bigger, it would have torn open her bowel and filled her body with all this toxins. She would have gone septic and most likely died.
Oh, wow.
So he when he was in there, he's like, okay. And he goes in and he starts, scraping away all the scar tissue and cleaning up everything. So everything's back in its place. And when she was coming out of that procedure, she was in a lot of pain and she was thinking, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But she got a very strong message from God saying, yes, it is worth it. You'll be pregnant in 3 months. And then 3 months later, to the day, she showed me the positive pregnancy test.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was protecting her the whole time.
That's actually really nice.
And our son turned out pretty good. So we're happy. We're glad that happened. He's the one who's homesick with us now. He had been checking his grades because he's a college freshman.
People are sharing out your stream.
Oh, okay.
And Pope is saying, very nice, Trusty. Super excited for this.
Grits and Guts, hello. Nice to see you. Pope Fiber, nice, Trusty. Super excited for this. Yes, I was just wondering, Pope, did you want me to color this, or do you want to get somebody to computer color it for you? Which I guess I could do that too if you wanted that, depending on what you wanted. If you wanted markers or if you wanted computer, because I could scan it and color it on my iPad, I guess. Noses are so hard to do on women.
Oh, she says she's just gonna get a friend to color it, but if you want to color it, then you can.
But if you were going to get a friend to color it, then that is good with me, because I don't think my coloring skills are all that. I do think my inking's getting better, though. And that's thanks to being here with all you fine people. Because I swear, I hadn't drawn this much in years until I, hooked up with the YouTube gang. Especially the digital bullpen. Now here's the tough part. Try to get the eyes even.
You can do it.
I usually wind up like Shannon Doherty, one down here, one up here. Oh, sorry, Shannon. I never draw noses. I always draw a triangle. Yep. Well, you notice, that's the thing. Manga, the nose is just a soft little triangle. That's it. I'm missing. I'm not paying attention to the chat. What's going on? Let's see. Yeah, thanks, Marsupial Gaming. You rock. Hello, Starfire. Really want to call you can. Okay. Starfire, guys. Okay. I guess I saw most of it. It is settled. Unknown friend to color and undisclosed location. Yep. And Keith, thanks for saying hi. Favorite streams are the ones where there is talking, drawing, and a moderately tame chat. Well, this is perfect for me. All right, very good. Thank you, Grit and Guts. This is only the 4th time I've done this. You know, I like getting on other people's streams. So all the pressure's on them. So who knows? Might join in tomorrow night with our old buddy Rick Piper over on Twitch. If you guys aren't doing anything tomorrow night, Rick likes to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. And
I think Rick is going to finish his Raven versus Starfire.
What?
Oh, Rick is doing a Raven versus Starfire, and I think he's going to finish it tomorrow.
Oh, very nice. And Metal has been joining us a lot. Metal has a contest going on, for his characters. And so, yeah, we're having a good time. So probably tomorrow night it will be back to lunch meat. The story of what would happen if the zombie apocalypse broke out in a meatpacking plant.
Oh my God.
Well, it's not too far from the truth because, I live close to the Smithfield Foods headquarters. Okay. And in fact, the architecture firm I work for, we've done some work for Smithfield Foods, and very nice people. I really enjoyed doing work for them. They were bought a couple of years ago by a Chinese company, and now we got, virus and people are, saying it originated in Wuhan, China, and so like, it's not that far-fetched,
Yeah, that makes sense. Sort of.
You get a bad batch of bologna, and who knows what can happen.
True enough.
Metal has ideas up the wazoo, Trusty. Oh, so yeah. Trying to hook me up with a writer, huh? Grit and Guts working on a... Oh, wait, no, it just jumped. My chat just jumped. I was reading that.
It just jumped.
Love the line work. Amazing your ability to know where to make the lines darkest. Well, Grit and Guts, I'm pretty old. I've been drawing for a long time. In fact, I can honestly say I've been drawing for half a century because I remember drawing comics as a very, very small child. Ortiz just drew with pen and paper, not with a mouse. I'm better at paper than computer. A mouse. I remember one time, okay, I'm going to name drop. I remember one time going over with a friend to Mike Waringo's house because actually Mike Waringo lived in the same town that I did. And, I did some assistant work for the studio where he was a member, and he was there and he was like coloring or something using a mouse. And we're like, dude, what are you doing? You got a stylus right there. You should be using that. He's like, huh? What? So I loved Mike. He was such a great guy. And we lost him way too young. He was really healthy too. He's always worked out and such. Took good care of himself. You just never know.
Pope is telling you that she can sorta, kinda, right?
Well, I like the ideas that I've been hearing about Relentless. I'm looking forward to when you guys, put that out.
I know. I can't wait until they released Relentless issue 1.
But I want to have enough work done in the can that you can keep people interested, because the last thing you want to do is start something, have people go, oh, this is great, and then it takes forever for something else to come out, and the interest is gone by the time
Yeah,
you get the next
so
thing out. You don't want to do that.
apparently we're gonna do 3 issues at a time, and then release one, but like wait a while, release the second one, and then go on from there. From what I heard.
Yeah, I like the ideas that I've heard about, like some of the characters and their powers and how they work. It made me think, I'd love to see a team that had a speedster, who could run very fast, but could only run as far as a reasonably athletic human being could run. Like maybe he could run really fast, but only for like 2 to 3 miles. He can't run over to Paris, and bring back baguettes, like the Flash can.
Yeah,
But
Pope just
he
said.
could run up to Kroger really quick.
Pope just said for making sure they have enough content backfilled before they release issue 1.
Yes. Well, that's smart. That's very, very smart.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, like doing a story arc that's like a few issues, you definitely want to have, that much done and in the can, so you can, release them as mini series, almost if nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all the Alterna comics were until, Peter decided, okay, enough is enough with Diamond. I mean, everything was mini series because of the way, Diamond handles orders and such, where, they would order a lot of a number 1 and then less of a number 2, less of a number 3. By the time you're, to issue 4, it's been cut way back. So it just didn't make sense to have ongoing titles through Alterna. It made more sense to release them as miniseries.
Well, Relentless is going to be a webcomic, so we don't have to worry about that.
That's right. That's right. I hate speedsters. They break the superhero universe they occupy. I hate how every season of The Flash, it seemed like it was just another speedster. I mean, I'm watching which season.
He gets slower, and then by the end of the season, he's like super fast, and now he's slow in the next season.
Yeah. John Dillard. Hey, John. Thanks for joining us. What happened to Marsupio Gamer? He's been crying all day and is inconsolable. Oh, no.
I think he's crying because I'm in the stream. I don't know.
Oh, man. Quarantine does that to kangaroos. Yeah. See, that's the thing. The quarantine has not. I haven't been super affected by it yet. I mean, I wear a mask when I go into the store and all, but I still have to go into work every day.
Yeah.
And I don't come into contact with many people as it is. So. Now, my wife is a librarian, so, she's used to dealing with the public every day. And now, there is no public to deal with. Although people keep calling saying, can I just come in, can get a book? I'm going crazy here. I need something new to read. No, sorry.
Yeah. Just the way the world is now.
Yeah. It sure will be nice when we get back to normal, or whatever normal is after this.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm pretty sure we're not going back to normal. We're just gonna go back to a somewhat normal.
Mm-hmm. A new definition of normal. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think some of the people I feel the worst for are the student athletes. You know, the seniors
Oh
who,
yeah.
you know, who had their careers cut short. Um, you know, the basketball players who didn't get to play in their NCAA tournament, um, especially, you know, and the baseball and softball players who, you know, didn't even get to start their seasons. I've got two nieces and two nephews who play, you know, sports, and we would enjoy going watching them, but you know, they
Can't do them
haven't been able to
anymore.
do anything. Yeah. All right. John says it's better than ever. Finish the Buckler Ash Can. Awesome. On to the extended Dillard cut, then on to my children's book with Chester, and on to the graphic novel Buckler Ascendancy. Wow. Good grief, John. You put so much detail in your drawing. It's going to take you forever. But it's good looking stuff, man. Busy fellow. Yep. Studio lost power. Need to get an electrician to upgrade breakers. Oh no. Need my AC. Oh, dude. When we the office that we started, the architecture firm, we would build a lot of models. We still do, and we were really busy when we started out, and so we had to work a lot of overtime. So we'd be there at night, and for some reason, the building we were in, they cut off the AC at night in the building. So we're up there sweating, trying to make these models out of paper and cardboard and such, and we've got fans going and thought about getting a portable air conditioner, but those things had to vent to the outside. Finally, just, you know, talked to the leasing agent, said, look, you know, we got computers up here too. You know, you guys need to leave the AC on at night. It's an accessory outbuilding. I met when I lived in North Carolina, met an artist named Bill Hobbs, and went to visit him at his house, and man, he had a whole, you know, separate building in his backyard, which was his studio. I was so jealous, you know, go in there, had 2 rooms, and I think he had a little bathroom back there too, and he had all his drawing stuff set up and comics everywhere. I was like, oh man, this is what I want. But I have to settle for the bonus room over the garage. I'm not sure about this.
Looks like you're almost done.
I am almost done. And you know what? Looking at the time, I think I am done because I have got to get to bed. I've got a busy, busy day at work tomorrow. So I think I'll just
Oh well.
ink this chin line because I'm one of those people that has to get warmed up before I can make a halfway decent line. And by warmed up, you know, I mean I have to have a little bourbon. Yeah, stops the hand from shaking. So I'm going to call it a night. But
All right.
thank you everybody for showing up. It was enjoyable. Thank you, Dark and Link, for keeping me company tonight.
Yeah.
And so remember tomorrow night, Cross Comics Twitch stream. I think he starts at like 9:30, I think. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably jump over there and finish this up and fill in all the blacks, and so you can see how it looks with all that. So actually, I still have a fair amount to do because I was going to do some hatching in the back too. So yeah, I'll probably be working on this, finishing this on the stream, and then get back to lunch meat after that. So you can always find me at Trusty Sidekick 3 on Twitter, Trusty Sidekick Art on Instagram, and I'm trying to be streaming more often on YouTube now. So thank you, everybody. Have a blessed evening. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.